Good evening, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to come here this evening in the house of our Lord to speak to his children. I go to so many places to talk, but today in the house of the Lord, I'm glad I'm here. So it's not by mistake. This day has been ordained by God, and I'm glad to be here to tell people what we do. Like our brother said at the beginning, to me, land is everything. Because it is in land we live and move and have our being. The food we eat is from land. The clothes we wear from land. The books we read from land. God made us from land. And when we die, it is land we are buried. So land is very, very important. Not even here alone, all over. They will tell you there are three things a man will fight for. Food, land, and another thing which I won't mention. Thank you. See, people go to war because of all those things. So I thank God I'm here today to talk about land. That's my profession. That was all I went to school to read. So I'm a bit conversant, I'll put it, with what I want to say here today. And I'm sure at the end of today, we will learn one or two things from what we are going to say. So I'll just go straight to the lecture. This is a paper presented to members of the Christ Chosen Church of God International on the 26th day of August, 2026. The topic before me is understanding Edogis, then the benefits of securing and titling your landed properties. I've told you the importance of land, so it's important we listen carefully. I'll give you a bit of background about Edogis. You heard when he said Edogis. It's an acronym. When I talk, sometimes I will break it down later so that everybody will understand. And sometimes I will use professional word, but I can also bring it down to the level of everybody. So Edogis is an acronym. When I say acronym, I know you understand that. For Edo State Geographic Information Service. So in short, we call it Edogis. Fully, it is Edo State Geographic Information Service. Our office is located at number 102, Saple Road, adjacent Ituhanges Grammar School. So, Benin City. We have our lifelines. I decided to put those ones first because sometimes when you give lecture, before you go, you forget to tell people your lifelines. That's those areas they can get to you easily. Our phone numbers. The first one is 081 361 49787. I'll say it again because I know people are writing. 081 361 49787. So we have another one. 081 566 11097. So we have other lifelines like those on Facebook. Those Twitter is facebook.@Edogis or Twitter @Edogis. So we have the one for email is info@edogis.org. info@edogis.org. Then we have a website. So a website is where you can get information about us. It's www.edogis.org. www.edogis.org. So having given you our lifelines, I'll go straight why Edogis was established. First of all, Edogis was established 1st of August 2017. It's the brainchild of Governor Godwin Norerase Obaseki. The primary purpose of its establishment is hinged on the fact that geospatial information is becoming increasingly important in the day-to-day lives of the citizens and activities of government. I will quickly break that down. Don't mind geospatial. Geospatial means data you collect that have meaning. Data you collect that are tied to a geography, to a location, to a code, zip code, to a property. So it's not something you will just Before Edogis, I'll tell you, we used to go manually to collect some information. And because we don't have the geospatial data we are talking about now, which is a qualitative data. We go there, if you don't give us your survey plan or anything, we just use our professional acumen and say this land is 50 by 100 by our profession. No, we just give it something. But with geospatial information, you get everything about that land. The coordinate, the properties that are there, it will be tied to the address. So that's why they say geospatial. It is important. It is with this kind of data you can make good plans. So that was why I said, let me break it down. So for government, it is particularly useful in making strategic planning decisions across sectors, such as land use, agriculture, health, statistics, economic growth, transportation, governance, all other sectors. So Edogis is responsible for collecting high-quality quantitative data to inform socioeconomic planning decisions throughout the state. That's the first reason why it was established. Secondly, Edogis was established to replace the former Ministry of Lands and Survey. I'm sure you used to hear about Ministry of Lands and Survey. It has become defunct due to corruption, high cost of processing CFO that never come out, complaints from citizens of Edo State, coupled with the lack of contemporary technology, which we now have for a good land administration. So if you knew Ministry of Lands and Survey before, they didn't have any of this technology. Like I said, there was corruption. The building was not conducive to do what we are doing now. So at a point, they said, no, we can't continue like this. It became defunct, and Edogis was established. So many of the staff in Edogis today were the staff that used to be in Ministry of Land and Survey. So Edogis now carries out all the functions which hitherto were performed by the defunct Ministry of Lands and Survey. Edogis is a body corporate with perpetual succession and common seal. It has power to sue and be sued. In law, Edogis is a personality. You can sue us, we can sue you. That's why we said is it has perpetual succession, it can be sued, and it can sue. That's what we mean. Then we have our mandate. So Edogis, what do we do in Edogis? Why were we established? One, to administer the land resources of the state, including titling and management of land. Titling like the CFO we are going to talk about now. Another thing is that we are established to maintain the library of land. We call it Library of Land Titles. That's what you used to know as the deed registry. We call it the land and the deed registry. That is where your registered properties are kept. They are kept there for public use. For your use, for members of the public to come if they want information on those properties. So Edogis is also responsible for administering land use charge. You have heard about land use charge. These are taxes on landed properties. Then also we conduct survey and cadastral surveys. That's part of our function. And also we are responsible for acquiring properties for government, for public uses. We acquire and we compute the compensation for such acquired properties. So what's our vision? Our vision as an establishment is to institutionalize sustainable, equitable land administration. A kind of land administration you see in advanced countries, where there will be no tussle, killing, fighting. We are just starting, but that's our vision. To get to the point that they are in Britain, USA, so that when you come to Edo State to process your landed property, you are sure that what you are going to get is good and will help you and is sustained. Then our mission is, how do we get our vision? We want to become catalysts for such sustainable land administration in the state. Then are there laws backing us? Of course. There is no organization that wants to be sustained, that will perform anything without having laws backing such organization. Even our churches, they have some kind of laws. There are some churches you will marry. The marriage will not be recognized because they are not registered. So with offices, so with all the things you do. So for sustainability, I said no organization can function optimally without necessary laws backing and regulating such an organization. So for Edogis, we have laws backing us to do what we're doing. We have the Land Use Act of 1978. That is really the bedrock of CFO. Before 1978, there was nothing like certificate of occupancy. What we had were a registered deed of conveyance that you can work on. But after 1978, when the Land Use Act was promulgated, we all became leaseholders, I'll put it like that. When they now said all the lands in the territory of each state are vested in the governor of that state to be held in trust for the people. It's not for him. He's holding the land in trust for the people. So that when we need land for public uses that will be beneficial to our people, we can acquire, pay compensation, and use. That is the Land Use Act. Then we have the Edogis Land Administration Law of 2018. That is the law that established Edogis to enable us to do what we need to do. Then we have the Edo State Land Use Charge of 2012. It was first promulgated 2012. Then now we reenacted it in 2023. That was the law that gives us power to go around to collect land use charges, taxes that government need to develop the state. Then we have the Edo State Procurement Law of 2020. It's all over the federation. It is wrong to do anything without procuring. You have to procure if you want to carry out, do any services. You want to build, you want to do buildings, construction. You procure. That's the process of going through what you want to do, and then they approve it before you do it. You know, to know what you're doing. So that law is there, backing all the different offices in government. So before we do anything, we go through procurement law, the procurement processes to ensure we are doing the right thing. Then we have the Edo State Private Property Protection Law. It has to do with property. You're also aware of it. It was established 2017, amended 2021. Then finally we have the, I call it the ground law, in Nigeria Constitution of 1999. That is the ground law. That is the law for everybody in the federation. We call it ground law because all other laws derive things from there. And all the time, it should take precedence over other laws when there is a clash between them. So having given you a background about Edogis, I will now speak on the topic of today, which is the benefits of securing and titling your land and landed properties. Land titling is simply the art of giving titles to your landed property. Merriam-Webster Dictionary Home Office Edition defines it as claim, right, especially a legal right to the ownership of property. That is just what titling is. Hence, when I stand here to talk about titling of land and landed properties, I'm simply requesting you to come and get the popular certificate of occupancy for your landed properties. That was what is recognized all over the world, all over Nigeria, and globally recognized by Britain and all that. That's why when your children or somebody is traveling, they tell you, if you have CFO, bring it along to the embassy, so it's recognized. So prior to the promulgation of the Land Use Act of 1978, which gave birth to CFO, what was in existence were the registered deed of conveyance that I spoke about just now. With the coming into being of the Land Use Act of 1978, what we now have is the certificate of occupancy, the popular CFO. CFO is a very important document that you must have for all your landed properties because of the following benefits. One, it is a registered document given by the state government, and it guarantees ownership rights over your land. Two, it ensures security of tenure. We know with the Land Use Act of 1978, the tenure, maximum tenure is 99 years. 99 years is the maximum tenure, depending on what you're doing. If it's agriculture, it's 25 years. Three, it facilitates subsequent transactions on your landed property. You cannot bring other kinds of documents that are not registered, and you want to do what we call consent. Consent is what you do when you buy a property from somebody who has CFO, and now you want to change the name to your name. So what you do, you seek the consent of the governor to change that name. So that's what we call consent. But if you don't have CFO, you cannot just walk to our office and tell us you have word paper. You have Oba's approval, you have word paper, you want to come and do consent. It's not possible. It's only properties that already have registered deed of conveyance or certificate of occupancy that you can do subsequent transaction, or what we call consent on. Having CFO boosts the value of landed properties and makes them more marketable. Sometimes when you are selling your properties, they will ask, do you have CFO? If you say no, they will prefer to look for a property that has CFO because of the security tied to CFO. CFO attracts investments. Since investors prefer landed properties with CFO, because of the confidence they get from knowing that the properties they are dealing with are secured and free from all encumbrances. CFO is used as a collateral. You cannot go to the bank with Oba's approval or word paper to tell a bank that you want to obtain a loan. They will not answer you. If they do and you fail to pay, the bank will be in trouble because there may not be any way to get their money back. So it is used as collateral for loans, as banks prefer and are more comfortable with landed properties with CFO to any other kind of document. The CFO gives life to your landed property. Landed properties which are not registered are referred to as debt capital. That's what we call them in my professional parlance. Debt capital because they have intrinsic value, which is almost useless to the owner until the landed property is titled or registered. Hence, in Africa in general and Nigeria in particular, persons with landed properties are very poor. They are poor because their properties are only useful to them in the state they exist. So I'll give you an example. A few years back, when we distributed the land use demand notice, one elderly man is retired but is in Lagos. He has property along Akpakpava. He came to my office. He was saying, he cannot pay, he cannot pay. It's too high. How is he going to pay? And in that property, there was also an uncle's wife who was occupying one room there, who even expected him to help him pay. And he's saying, when he can say, Papa, that property, how did you guys say? He inherited the property from the father. I said, Daddy, your father must be crying in the grave right now. You inherited this property over 30 years ago, and you are still poor. You shouldn't be poor. Why? Because Akpakpava is the best property area. The highest value of property is along Akpakpava. We compare with the Broad Street. So anybody having land in Akpakpava or property in Akpakpava that is still poor, maybe he does not know what to do. If you come, I'll tell you. So I say, Papa, go and do CFO. Then you will come back to me. When he was coming the other year, he was happy. He prayed for me. He said, our bank has taken that property, so I can now pay my land use charge easily. You know, I've even relocated my uncle's wife. Everything is fine now. Thank you, my pikin. So that's what I mean. So that property was in his hand. No value to him because he was still paying taxes on the property. But immediately he registered that property. They gave him a CFO. A bank ran to him and picked the property. So that's what I'm talking about. Debt capital. You are rich, but you are living poor because you don't know you are very rich. Another man too has property in James Ward. So he put a rent. Immediately he got CFO. He told the tenants, I will increase this property. I'm increasing it next year. But if you know you cannot pay, just go. Because bank is ready to take it. Psalm 10 gave life to that property and added value to that property. So that was the power of registering your property, coming for CFO. So you give them power. So CFO empowers you financially, economically, socially, physically, thereby reducing poverty. CFO also, from experience now, has helped us to reduce land grabbing. Land grabbing, killings, and strife in the communities. You can say they are still there, but they have been reduced to the barest minimum. It's my office. I know they have been reduced to the barest minimum. The present government has made the acquisition of CFO very easy to get. It is easy to get now compared to before. Now, reduction in the cost from over 500,000 to 1.2 million to just 50,000 naira initial application fee, and a little above depending on the size of your land. Reduction in the time of processing CFO. Like before now, if you know Ministry of Lands and Surveys, and some of you, if you have, some of the CFOs did not come out until Edogis was established. Some are still just there because the papers are not complete and all that. You will pay over 1 million. Yes, your CFO will not come out. But today I'm telling you, because I'm already doing it. If all your papers are complete and you have paid the necessary thing, I will give you your CFO within 30 working days. I'm doing it already. So you can try me. Just bring all your papers, they are complete. Within 30 working days, you will get your CFO. So we also have online services. That means you can sit in the comfort of your house and apply for your CFO. People are doing it from US, from other countries. So we have, when you go through that at www.edogis.org, if you open it, you will see everything there. You can apply online, sit in the comfort of your house. If there are no problems with your application, you will get your CFO. Then, the cutting-edge technology provided by the state government can immediately inform you of any encumbrances on any land you want to process CFO on. Therefore, I advise this audience to always conduct searches, what we call searches, before acquiring any land, to save you from all the pains of not being able to get your CFO because of encumbrances. Such encumbrances can be overlapped. If you submit your CFO, your survey plan, and we start with your CFO, and we see that your survey is overlapping another survey, or your survey is already overlapping an existing CFO, we stop. So there's a problem. That's an encumbrance. Or when we start your CFO, somebody writes and says, no, that is his own land. When we publish, so that's his own land, we will not continue. But what we do there, we can invite both parties. We can invite you people to say, two of you are overlapping. Let's talk about this matter. We'll sit down. We have solved a lot of problems through that. At the end, sometimes we see that a community is the one that gave both of them the same land. So after meetings and all that, the community can now relocate one of you and we'll continue with the CFO. So we are doing that there. When we talk to the people, if they refuse, we tell them to go to the court. At the end of the day, we abide by the judgment of the court. So that's why I'm telling you that CFO is helping to solve the problems of land grabbing. Because before now, somebody can just apply for your own land and get away with it. But with your CFO already existing now, you cannot give CFO to a second person until that problem is solved. So such encumbrances can also be that the person who sold to you already has taken loan with that CFO. And when you take loan with registered property, it's supposed to be registered in our office. So when you conduct search, we'll tell you, please, don't buy this property. It's a mortgage. mortgage to so and so bank. So you withdraw. But before now, many people just go buy what they want to buy. At the end of the day, you can't take possession of your land. You know, somebody has spent millions of naira buying something and he cannot get it. He want to get at you. So you see some people, they kill for that even, which is not necessary. So if you conduct searches before you pay, don't come after you have bought. Then it may be too late. Conduct your searches. We can also tell you, look, this land is falling on government acquisition. Don't buy. Because some communities, when the government has acquired land, that's when they will be selling to people innocent people who don't know. So by the time you come to us, we'll tell you, no, this land has been acquired. We cannot process CFO for you. So these are the instances that make processing of CFO delayed. When you cannot get your CFO on time, you are just saying, they are sitting on my application, they are not working, they are working. There are encumbrances that must be removed before we continue with the CFO. So to raise this to a higher level and put an end to the problem of land grabbing, we have been collaborating with communities, advising them to lay out their communities and come and register them with Edogis. It is now a part of our policy that communities will lay out their land. They should lay out their land. I hold meetings with them. I also told them some of the problems are from them. You buy a land from the community, when that chairman is gone, they say this is a new regime. It cannot be. It's part of that community. You cannot say this is new regime. Come and rebuy your property, or the new chairman has sold. So those are the things. So when you register your layout as a community, you bring in 100 plus, for example. You have done your layout. You come and register with Edogis. You number it 1 to 100. We are collaborating. If they buy plot 1, I phone the head of the community. Mary has come to do CFO for plot 1. Is he Mary you gave it to? He say yes. We process. We'll give you. That means they can never sell that plot to another person again. But that's what they do. That's why you see fighting, land grabbings, and killing. So that's the higher one. I'll let them have the whole of this year. We're already telling them to start laying out their place. Because such laying out will not only help them in this CFO, it will make their community smart. You know what it is to have a smart community? Me, I've left this country. If you go to a village in US, it's better than town. Yeah. It's because they are following processes. You go to a village in Britain, it's as good, better than even Lagos in some instances. Because they are following these things we are talking about, follow procedure. So if you lay out your communities, you will have a smart community. And if you do have your community, if it's smart, the value of your land will increase. People would like to come to communities where they don't kill, where they don't add roads to their plots, where everything is clean. You say, no, me, I go this one. No. My friends, they there, then reach 10. No fight. You buy land, you get peace. And that's because if you lay out your community, you will not sell one land twice. So it will add value to that community. People would like to come there. Then your land values will go up. Where other communities who kill themselves and fight, they are selling their land for 1 million. Your community can sell for 3 million. They'll say because of the peace, I will buy that one of 3 million. You go to some communities, there are no roads. Even when government is now wants to give them infrastructure, they cannot show you any place to put police station for them. They cannot show you any place where you can put clinic. They cannot show you any place where you can put school. These are things that are very important for communities. And that's why we are saying communities, please lay out your communities so that all this infrastructure will be there. You can imagine if all the communities in those states we are doing that. You don't need to leave your community to New Benin to buy anything. Because in that community there will be market. There will be police station. There will be school. There will be hospital. So the town, the traffic in town will be less. Because you now have different places where you can do your shopping. Just like when you go to US, it's more shops than any other thing I've seen. It's shopping all the time. But there's no problem. Because you have more than enough shops in a particular area to your neighborhood to do your shopping. So these are the kinds of things we want to do here. Then once the community can key in, then we are good to go. Good to go because you are aware of the master plan, which I will just touch later, that the government is doing now. The master plan, the 30-year development plan. What is that about? We are trying to put things in place so that for the next 30 years, you know what should be here. The way we are doing it, we are going to do it. We do it in a way that even primary schools, they will know what it is. Children, they will tell you, Daddy, no, in this development plan, it is a school that is supposed to be there, not a mosque, not a church. Everybody will know. So it will be difficult for anybody to come up and change that plan. That's the way countries develop. There must be plan. We are talking about Lagos. It's the plan that was put down there about some years ago that they are following, so that the next person will go on. Before you know, Edo State will be a state everybody wants to be, because that's our plan. So, having talked about layout and collaborating with communities, if we do this, we have smart communities. Like I said, the value will be raised, the place will be fine to live in, there will be no more strife, no more killings, no more land grabbing. So, having talked about that, I want to tell you what you require to do this CFO we are talking about. Documents required for CFO. The documents required for CFO depends on whether it is for individual or organization. We have forms for different people. We have for individual, we call it SRI. That's if you want to come. We have for minor. That's if you have a child less than 18 years. Because it's a child, by the Constitution, a child cannot transact, cannot enter into contract with a child. And so, when such a child, if the documents are in the child's name, you can come and do CFO for the child. So your photograph and the child's photograph will be there. So until the child is about 18, you can hold the CFO for the child. When the child is an adult, can take over the property. So we have CFO for organization, SRO. I'm telling you the different forms that you will fill depending on what you are processing your CFO for. So having filled those forms, then you bring one passport photograph. Recent passport photograph. In my passport photograph, you don't wear hairgear, you don't wear shade, just as you are, so that we'll know you're the one. We won't like the ones that will cover their eyes and all that. We don't want that. We want to know that the person processing the CFO is the person's photograph that we are looking at. Then we need your ID. It can be the NIN, it can be your international passport, it can be your current driver's license, it can be your voter's register. Just something to identify you that you're the one. The passport is for your CFO. Why those other things are for us to identify you that, this is Mary. This is, your ID card is carrying what you say you are. Then we need the land transfer document or inherited document. It can be you bought directly, so we need that paper to which you bought. It can be a property you got through will. Maybe when daddy died, he willed some properties to the children. The will carry the children and the kind of properties. It can even be the one that the family sat together because the man died without will. And the family will sit down, hold meetings, and come out with a report as to how the properties were shared. It can even be word paper. It can also be Oba's approval. So if you bring those are the land documents we are talking about. Then there must be survey. There must be a survey plan. Because it is the survey plan that delineates your land. So you cannot come and do CFO without survey. So which land are we processing CFO for? It is the one you bring survey plan. So there must be survey plan. Evidence of income tax. You must pay tax. If you are supposed to pay tax, pay the tax. There is no government that can survive without tax. It's all over the world. You pay your tax, so you have tax clearance certificate. But for retirees, just come with your letter to show that you have retired. So you are exempted from tax payment for those who have retired. Yes. Then for those who are not in this country and not in this state, they don't pay tax here. They are abroad. They pay development levy of 100,000 naira in lieu of tax. So we won't be saying, come and pay or you don't pay. Just pay your 100,000. That will stand in lieu of tax because you are not here. So what you are paying is development levy because you are coming to develop your land in the state. Then we need your utility bill. It can be DSTV bill, it can be your NEPA bill, because we want something tied to the address, your address, tied to your address. So you bring your utility bill. Then where you have a court affidavit and police report, where you have where your property has been stolen or is lost and you can't find it. So if you have such a thing, you go and include advertisement. Put it in the newspaper that your document was stolen and all that. That will back up the oath you have sworn to. Then you have your bank teller. The initial 50,000 must be paid before coming. Don't give money to anybody. If you even come to my office, come with your ATM card, because we have government POS. We don't take cash. If you go to the bank, you pay it into the bank account number that will be specified on your application form. You pay it there, come with your teller, we'll give you a digital receipt for what you've paid, then we'll start the processing. Like I said, if all these papers are there are no objections. Your survey is in order. There are some people, they submit wrong survey. The coordinates will go and fall in. There are some people that will bring survey. The land is in the Kehwa. When you conduct, the land will go and fall in the Kobahi. You cannot. So you go and bring correct survey so that we can work with that. So there are also people who appoint, the people who call representative. We are not the ones who put them there, but many people who can't come, they appoint people they call representatives. They are accepted, they are representing you, not us. So we let them represent you. But then you are going to collect what we call representative form, which that person will fill. You will sign. The person will also put his identity and everything, so that we will know who is running that CFO for you. Then you will also give the person a letter of authority to act, so that at the end, it is him or her we are dealing with. So if you have a representative who is doing that, you not tomorrow send your daughter, we will not answer your daughter, because you already have a form you have filled. So it is that representative that will do it to the end. But anyhow, if as you are processing, the representative is not performing, you are tired of, you tell us. You give us the new representative and fill an update form and give us particulars about the new representative who will allow. So those are the things you need. If not there, existing already, we can take the utility bill of the CEO also, so that we can have something to tie it to. Like I said, if your documents are stolen, you bring in your police report, your court affidavit, plus publication in the national daily newspaper. You also start by paying your 50,000 to start with. So those are the things you need. And to end my lecture, I want you to know that Edogis office is a state-of-the-art office. If you have not come there before, you should come. I call it a state-of-the-art office, one of its kind in Nigeria, and housing the most sophisticated technological equipment for efficient land administration. Other states have been visiting us to see what we're doing, to study our seamless land titling system to enable them build strong foundations for their own geographic information system. So in the light of the foregoing, I'm also formally inviting members of this church to come and visit. One thing is to talk. Another thing is to come yourself and see that we are not joking. We mean what we are saying. We are doing what we are saying. So if you want to come, just give me 3 days notice, and I will be ready. My management, my staff will be ready to receive you, so you will see for yourself what we're doing in Edogis. So that was all I need to tell you. Thank you for listening. Thank you. God bless you all. In Jesus' name. Amen. So, time for questions. If you have questions, I'm here to answer. Okay.
I want to profoundly thank the guest speaker. My question is this. If a state government wants to acquire a land in a community for industrial purpose, how is there any arrangement that the state government has put down to compensate the indigents of that community? Because I read in the newspaper that the Edo State government went to Orion to acquire a land for SURVEYOR farms, and the communities, the indigents, are now complaining that they don't have a place to farm. We will be boosted. Yeah. But the indigents that are there, how will they be compensated? So I just started that case of SURVEYOR farms in Orion, local government area.
Thank you. Let me answer one by one.
Yes.
So that they will understand.
Yeah.
Hello. Let me answer one by one. I don't even want you to use SURVEYOR or whoever. I will take it. There are steps for acquisition. One, and I want you to know that by the Land Use Act of 1978, the governor of a state has power to acquire any land for public purpose. Any public purpose, he has power. The law is a federal law. He didn't make it. It's a federal law that has vested him with the power to be able to acquire land for such public purpose. And once it's public purpose, you can't contest it. The only time you can contest is if the governor decides to acquire this land and put his father, his mother, or his relation, who will drag him to court. He will fail. But if it is for public purpose, yes, there are rules. Section 28, Section 29 of the Land Use Act. The rules are there. We can acquire, and also that Land Use Act gave us also how to compute such compensation. Of course, you cannot take people's land without compensating. I call it people's land because the governor is holding the land in trust for the people. But already we are tenants to governor according to the Land Use Act. People say tenants, say, how many of us can live for another 99 years? It doesn't mean that after 99 years, they will take the land from you. That is the longest lease that can be given. So the governor has power to acquire land, whether for industrial, commercial, and all that. And so we also will pay compensation. Of course, we are supposed to pay compensation according to the law. So that's where the problem comes. The people don't want it according to the law. They want it according to what they want. You can tell me that your house is 20 million. I tell people, you don't determine what your house is. It's the people that determine the value of your house. People who come to say, I'll pay 10 million, I'll pay 12 million, I'll pay this. Before I joined the government, I was the staff of JU Radio and Co. Blessed memory. That small house in a forestry. That was where I was groomed. So, we tell the owners of properties that this land, though, where you put 20 million, so we don't take 4 or 5 people go, now 10 million that they talk. So they are trying to tell you the value of your land is between 10 and if you leave it there for 10 years, you may not see who will buy it. Because already that's what it is in the market. And the people know they have other things to select from. I'm using that as an example. So, for compensation, if we don't go along with the law, then we will fail. But if the law says this is what it is, that is what it is. And a magnanimous governor, I'm not just praising this. I tell people, I've spent 35 years in government. This is the first time sitting with people to negotiate compensation with them. Because he says, give it a human face. They are human beings. Have you sat with the family? Have you done this? So we do that. We do that. We say, let's sit down, but see what we can pay. But they keep insisting. Some of them is government. It's 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. But that's not what it is. And what they are going to acquire is for the good of everybody. I've stayed long in government. I'll still tell you. All those communities, they want to sell the land. I have told them the best way to enjoy such thing. If a government is bringing something to your community, what you should be telling government is, now, this company you are bringing, how many of our children are you going to employ? How many of our children are you going to train? How many of our children are you going to put in the managerial session? How many? If you have to do that. If you don't, if you leave the land for the community, they will sell, or even the children you are talking about, they will not have land to take, they will not be educated, they will not do anything. At the end, the company will set up and put them there as messenger. Is that what we want? So I told them, when the government is bringing something to your place, don't be thinking of just the money you want to eat now. Think of what is this thing? What is there for our children? What is there for our children? Who told you government cannot send children to Britain or wherever to train them so they take over the company they are going to set up there? So we are discussing like brothers and sisters. We are discussing like brothers and sisters. So some of the communities, they are doing that not because they are thinking of those children. If you are thinking of those children, you give them the best of education and everything, because many of those children will not stay in these houses we are building. Some will stay in space, because from what I'm seeing from technology now. But if you give them good training, and the company comes there, one of the children will come from US and buy over the company. Tell them to go. I want to give freedom to my children, to our people. I'm just giving you an example. So it's not true that government must pay compensation. If government does not pay compensation, you have right to take the government to court. Government will pay compensation on what we have acquired, of what we acquire. But let me tell you, some of those villages, some of those places are for government. Forest reserve. They say it's part of their village. We know our forest reserve. So when you go and say this forest reserve is part of your communities, if you come to my office, I open technology, and they will tell you this is a forest reserve. It's not for any community. So you are talking about SURVEYOR and all those places. Presco, SURVEYOR, they have been there for so many years. How many years? Presco has been there for over 20, 30 years. You understand? For example. So I'm saying the best way to talk to our people in the villages, in our communities, is let government bring development to your place, but let them tell you what's in it for your children. For your children. We have lived our lives. We have lived our lives, but the children are coming. So how are they going to do it? So, many people are going to ask questions. So that's how we live there. We pay. We must pay because we pay compensation in line with the Land Use Act of 1978. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, I'd like to advise, if you have the microphone, go straight to your question and not give any analysis so that we can leave here on time. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So, Madam, I join others to thank you for the package that you have delivered. But I'm not allowed to do more rhetorics. So let me go straight to some questions. I have two questions here. And maybe I'll make it, maybe three. Now, the first one is this. You talked about the origin of a land. There are some family land without contestation, very clear family land, maybe where their great-grandfather farmed or lived. Now, at that time, there were no documents. Maybe, like for instance, in Urumi area, we were not having ONOJ's approval. So, and you have talked about there has to be some entitlement if you must sell or divest it for whatever interest. So I'll need you to enlighten us on where we can take off from that. That's number one. Number two, you talked about acquisition. Yeah, we agree that the state government owns all the land in the state by virtue of a decree, the Land Use Decree, 1978. But there is also the definition of public interest. If you must acquire some of those land for public interest. There are some definition of public interest. For instance, if you go and acquire a land and they give it to Mr. P to build an estate as a commercial business or for other things that is commercial. So in most cases, where does the government connect the public interest to when somebody want to do pure private business? We are talking of public interest, we're talking of railway, we're talking of primary school, we're talking of stadium, Even if you are talking of market, yes. So there are clear definitions of public interest. So I also need you to tell us where to locate that one. Then number 3, that's why I wasn't very sure whether to call it a question or a comment. I do know that when you are completing the form for CFO, there's a provision for the purpose. Purpose.
Yes, of course.
So it therefore means that at all time, there is a reason for the land being acquired. So you talked about these are our brothers coming in from the Western countries to acquire property, and sometimes for no just reason. They may acquire the property, but when it is time to transfer the ownership and the platform of the CFO, there must be a reason. Either you are building a house, you are building except a house or a foundation, it has to be a commercial. So if it's not a living house and it's not a foundation, and you are acquiring that land for the purposes of maybe a hotel and all of that, already the government has subscribed to the use of that land. So they're in agreement with the buyer if a CFO is so produced. But in some cases where you find government disagreeing or, after the CFO, and when you go into record, you actually discover that he said either a hotel or a living house. How do you reconcile all of this? Because these are some of the conflicts, the flashpoint, where people don't believe that land taken from them are not for any public interest. And in some cases, some of us, are forced to believe some stories. By the office I heard a lot of complaint, and we've discussed them at some point and all that. And particularly when it was lands and survey, we had a lot of that are issue. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll also take up that. Thank you very much. You talked about origin of land. That's family land. I'll tell you a bit. There was a question they asked us when I was in school. They said land like air is a free gift of nature. Why then do we pay for the use of land? I always use that. Land like air is a free gift of nature. Why then do we pay for the use of land? You talked about the origin. I remember before I was born, our forefathers, land was so cheap and free that when you have farmed for so many years, it becomes your family land. We've always known that. But things have changed. Things have changed because land is now having value. And so you cannot leave it at that state. That's why we're talking about titling your land. Doing this is not as it used to be. Just like I'm saying, some of our children will live in space. The way they are doing now, some of them, they are starting going to tell us there may be room that way. It's the same. Now, then you said land was surplus, so they didn't know the value. So anybody can have land. But now that they know the value, even the communities themselves will not leave you to farm like that for many years. It becomes your family land. They will not. So things are changing. But what you said now, in Benin, we've always had like an organized land administration because of our obas. There was land obas approval. Then the authentic obas approval. When it comes as obas approval, you know what I mean. But some communities didn't have that. They are talking about Isha, Uromi. We are aware. But we are aware that they will say they've been there for so many years. But there's a community head now that can support that and let us know, yes, this family has been there for so many years. That with affidavit will work on your property. Work on your property. You know, in that Edogis, they say some people forged it. We will give you your CFO. But if later they go to call you forged it, police will come in. That's no longer Edogis' problem. Because we are not police. That's not our own. We work on what you submit. With the oath you swore to, you are good to go. So you understand. So if you are from Uromi and all that, you have that. But there are community leaders there now that will confirm that it was your father. They know how to, you know, do these things, and at the end, you really trace it to that community. You understand? So I won't like them to remain like that. They can now begin to give value to their property. As the community leader supports what you have said, they'll go ahead and do a CFO. And that CFO now covers that thing, and they can go on. Yeah, you talk about public interest. That what is public interest? I've said it before. Public interest to me is very easy to know. It's not only railway. Government can acquire this place and say he wants to deliver housing for his people. It's public interest. Housing for my people. We need, it's public interest. So don't come and say, government, not be housing the bill, sir. You in the community selling that land give you that power. Because the people in the community, is not all of them enjoying the benefit of that land. They will finish selling a whole land, they can't put road. They can't put road. You remember the problem of CDS before the property law came to being. So we should be truthful. They come to me, I told them that they are part of the problem. That if they want peace, we will work the way we are working, everybody will have peace. You understand? So, public interest surpasses railway. This. Housing is very important. Many people, they are not living in adequate houses. You know, that you call this house is okay. If government has money, you should declare one place and say, housing for the people. We will have high density, low density, medium density, and provide for all of them. So, housing is public interest. There is no way you would define that, because it's public interest. It's public interest. And so if they put those houses there, they are all taken. We still have 100 there. One man say he has money to buy them, so that we will not let him buy. But really, it's housing for the people. You understand? I just want you to know that, because when you talk about housing, they always say, no, it's only office. It's only, no, housing is a good public interest for government to invest in for the benefit of the people. The completing of CFO, advanced country, you find out, you were talking about CFO, if you want, yes. You talk, in advanced country, you cannot, even in Abuja, you cannot put a block down without approval. If you are just fencing, they will fine you big money. You cannot hear. They will go and be building during public holiday. They will go and be doing all sorts of things. That's why things are bad. Ordinarily, you even advise some people, they don't hear, they will come, madam, I want to do filling station. I say, go to physical planning. Go and confirm that physical planning will allow you build filling station there before you come. They will not. They will dodge you. You say public holiday. Some then they will hire a generator in the night and be building fast. So those are the things we want to even cure. With the development plan, this 30-year development plan and the master plan coming in, that will no longer be allowed. So you can see, if you come to my premises, that is where you have land hub. Everything you have to do about land is not there. You will not get yourself and now go to the other side to get, no, physical planning has been brought there. So you jump out of my office, you jump into their office. So it's easy for you to now, make I ask whether they will let me put filling station there before I will go start. And this problem will be solved. The advanced country you are seeing, like I was talking to the group that came to see us from the southeast. When in 1978, that law was promulgated, what the government would have done, the federal government, is to have made sure there's GIS all over the country and they'll take possession of the land. You cannot be saying you are a landlord when you don't have possession of the land. So you take possession of the land, GIS all over the country, so that when people are coming, you meet government. Abroad, if you want to take loan for that, you go straight to the government, not individual. It's government, because they have all the data, all the record about all their land. in that area. That's what they would have done in 1978. But that each government is trying to do now. And that's why I'm happy that we already have a GIS in Edo State. That's the beginning of good land administration. With that GIS, give us another 5 to 10 years. Edo State will be the state everybody wants to be in. Everything will be properly done. Yeah? No matter how big you are, if you say it's not filling station here, if you put it, we'll pull it down. That's how to work. Pull it down irrespective of who owns that place, so that our place will be a good place to stay in. So what you said now, that some people will go and buy, you are coming from abroad, but you don't do that abroad. Like some people, you tell them to pay tax here, they will say, many of them, their houses are locked up abroad. Don't pay. Don't pay. Because you locked up the house. But here they'll say, we never do business for 10 years. The company go pay. So we should do things right, so that Nigeria will be a place we will love. And some of our children that have gone will come back home to be a good place to stay in. So that's how we'll discuss that. Thank you.
Please put your hands together for our sister. Well, we don't want to make this an all-male affair. I'd like to hear from many of our sisters. I mean, a lady is talking to us, so the ladies should also feel happy to ask a question, because the mother is the mother of the house. And if there's no good house, the mother won't be happy with us as the fathers. Yes, any lady who wants to ask a question. Otherwise, yes, I will. But please, let's be very brief about this our question.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Please, a quick one. I wanted to ask, an estate company, for example, an estate company that sells land to people. For example, there's this one, myself and my brother, we decided to invest in, and they told us that it is good to bank your money on land, which we both saw as a very good idea, and we decided to patronize one of these companies. And okay, my question is just that, is it possible for an estate company to have a CFO for an acres of land, and that's very CFO will not cover for each person they are giving land? For example, I don't want to mention the name of a company. This is the message they sent to me. They said the allocation is provisional, and plus allocated must be developed within 6 months, or else this very company reserve the right to reallocate your land within the same estate. So I wanted to know if an estate company has the right to do and undo whenever, because in this case they already promised that you should invest on land. They are also giving us a condition that you have to develop that same land within a period of time. If not, they will have to move you to another place. So I just wanted to know if a particular CFO can cover for multiple plots of lands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Haven't heard my lecture today. Won't you discard those people? Some of them are my children. I called, I said, go and do the right thing. I hear some buy one land, I give you 3. One day I call and say, now how orange you they say? I say, you are in trouble. How can somebody buy 2 land, you dash 2? Is it orange? That means there's something wrong there. It's not genuine. It's not genuine. Because land is very expensive. So you cannot buy 2 land, they will dash you 1. Will you take? So the same thing now, yes. He holds the knife, he holds the yam. So he can dictate to you. He has taken your money, you have built, he knows the economy is bad, he's giving you 2 years to quickly do it so that you forfeit your land. So that even in the community where they do it too, community will give you land. When it's now open, they will sell and go and relocate you and take you again back to the back. Those are the things we want to stop. Meanwhile, if they have a layout, registered with us, there is no way they will remove you from there and take you back. Because with us, you are number 1 there. They understand. That's why they are trying to come up. They will come. Change is very difficult. But when it starts, it's sweet. We'll do it. By January, no community without registered layout. will come and process CFO. Only those who have registered who were allowed to come and do CFO. So don't, you see, come to Edogis and come and find out if that land is in order. So also tell them, if they come and bring that parcel like that, they've really bought truly from the community and they gave them, we can register the land. So that you come, when they give you plot 1, you will process it for you. If you tell them now, they will shrink back. And I hear many of them be taken to court nowadays. They used to be flamboyant. I heard some have run back, some. They are in court now because all those land, they are not for them. So the first thing you do, come and conduct search. When they tell you, say, give me, come and conduct search with us. Then go to the community and find out the history of the land. So that you find out whether this man is just using his power to take the whole land. It's not really for him. So that's what I can say on that. Thank you.
But the thing I want to ask is this. You know, some years ago when you were at the secretariat at Sapler Road, very good. They used to sell government land. Do you people still sell? So that we can patronize. I subscribed some years ago when, I don't want to mention their names, you know. I still have my receipts and every other thing. It did not get to me. But I knew you were in charge of that some time ago about all those government land that they were acquiring. We want to know how we can acquire it because it's more sure that people will not come and encroach on it and say, okay, it's rather than community. If they, because I remember down at Country Home Road, the government had a lot, so they sold. So for the benefit of all of us that are here that don't have money, if you are selling land, let us know so that we can acquire. Thank you very much.
The only thing I want to just say here, government allocates land, but we don't have land. That's how we go. The ones government had before now, that we put there, the government is supposed to have a land bank. So that when the government wants something, we go there and take. But communities went into the land. So most of ETT, every area, communities entered the land. And so government does not really have that kind of land not to allocate. Yeah, when I was in lands, over 20-something years ago, yes, when we want to do allocation, we'll let you know. But there must be land that we want to allocate for us to tell you that. It's not that we are saying we allocate accordingly. So there are problems, but if we have, we do. But there are people who come and collect the land. They will come and be selling to people. Now, I come back to you. Even in the CFO, even we tell you, you have to develop within 2 years. So people will take government land. After 40 years, they will say it's your land. 48. Government said you should build within 2 years. This to ensure that everybody gets, and not speculators who will put them down and go and be reselling to other people. So you look at yourself, or you also look at that provision. So if you really want land for a building and government gives you, you will try and build within 2 years. 2 years, at least start something, do something. Not the one you will live there for 30, 40 years, you say you have land there. Doesn't work. So, like I said, when allocation time comes, I will let you know. I will let you still bring the message to the church. Thank you. We used to do, we've done land, we've done housing. I was also in charge of Igos housing. When government built those low-cost housing estates, I was in charge. Every civil servant that put them got. They are all living there now. They are all living there. That's what it should be. So if government has money, that is why I say government, public purpose. Housing is public purpose. Thank you.
Well, from the way things are going, we have to allow some more persons to, 3 more persons. So, but please let me go to the altar and.
Bless you, our sister.
Thank you.
I want to ask 2 questions based on individual land acquisition. And these 2 questions are interwoven. 1, can somebody who has bought a land without maybe survey, C of O, and has built already in that land, and he want to come for C of O and also maybe survey C of O according to your items here. Yeah. Now, what are the charges attached to that? Is it different from the same 50,000 naira? Then second question. Now, is there extra charges attached to the price of that C of O theretofore or therein after?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very precise. Yes.
So I will give you, I will answer you. Yeah. Because the master plan is not yet ready now. Yes. We can deal with property as built. That means if you already have all those and you want to come and do CFO, you can. You can. Because first of all, you're supposed to even have title before you start building. You know our people, I'm just talking to people like my brothers and sisters. We are very funny in this part of the world. You see somebody who buy land for 10 million. Come and do CFO for 50,000. They say you don't have money. They will start building. They'll come and build another house that's up to 20 million on top of that land. Because they don't understand what God says. That you give to God what is God and give to Caesar what is Caesar. I tell people, Jesus Christ instituted tax payment when he told Peter. When Peter said, should we pay? Are you not going to say, go to the river, get that coin from the fish's mouth and go and pay for all of us? And when they brought the coin, he said, whose head is this? He said, Caesar. He said, give unto God what is God and give unto Caesar what is Caesar. That is the day Jesus Christ instituted tax payment. Because there is no government that can work without tax. I'm just giving you an example. When things become orderly as we want it, you cannot put one block down on that land until you do survey. In fact, survey is the first thing anybody should do when you buy land. If me, I want to buy land, because I'm a lawyer, I tell other that's what I do. I will do the survey before I pay. Because in the process of doing my survey, some people can come and say, Madam, I don't know land. You will just go and meet the person. The person drive me for the land. Thank God you have not paid. Or when nobody comes, you have done the survey. You know what I do? When I'm writing the agreement, I quote the survey inside the agreement. So if you see people that the communities don't relocate, it's because that survey has held them here. You take it to court. Not be then sign and when they give you, then they sleep. So always make it a necessity when you want to buy land. The survey is the first thing. And that survey will be quoted. You know, before you buy, they will let you do anything before you pay. Okay, now, go do. They will do all. But after you have paid, you are on your own. No? You are on your own. If there's a problem, you won't see them. So that the first thing you would have done is do your survey. So from now on, the first thing you do before you pay for that land, do the survey. If it is free, when you are doing survey, nobody stops you. But if it is not free, from the very day you call a surveyor, then they will fight and drive the surveyor out of the land. Then you begin to hear story. Begin to hear story about the land. I'm telling to you from experience. Then, but now that you already have land, you have a building, we deal with the matter as built. When I say as built, you come to us. Come and put in for CFO for the land. We'll do it for you. Then you go to town planning, physical planning. As built, that means as the house there now, the architect will draw it out for you like that and put it in a plan. And physical planning will still approve. So if there are things to be adjusted because you still have some land, they will tell you. If you did not locate your borehole where, they will tell you to relocate. Because when people are sick now because they put their borehole near soak away. We don't want that again. So when you want to build, this one will come and check. Where do you want to put your soak away? So that we will tell you the proper place to put it. So people are just sick because they are drinking borehole water that's bad. I've been taking borehole water for 20-something years. I've never had typhoid. So where you locate your borehole is very important. So that has built. When you now come, they will come to your compound. I'm telling you of my sister ministry. So to let you know we work together now. My sister ministry will come and look. Say, okay, architect should draw it as built. But this is also okay. We're not good for where you do. You will relocate it and put it forward. They will tell you what to do. Where you can even plant something to make your house fine. Now put tree for wind breaking. They will tell you all that. That's what we want to try and do in Edo State. So that in 2050, Edo State will be a place everybody wants to be. Have I answered your question? Thank you. The extra, no, I've told you for CFO, it's 50,000. That's the initial. We'll call it initial because if you come, you don't have tax clearance. The extra charge is that you either go and do tax clearance and bring, or you pay 100,000 development levy. That is them. No, annually is your land use charge. That is different from CFO. CFO, you process it. Annually is land use charge for everybody. Whether you have CFO or not, will reach your house. Now, it started 2014. Everybody, if you never reach your, will reach your house. But you're not big, now see big. If now you and your family did a house, we'll give you tekele because we know say you not renter. If you get tenant, we move up small because you get money there. If you can't be organization, we move up just like that accordingly. It's not big. When you start, you'll see say it's not big at all. But sir, after 1978, we are all tenants. But long list of 99 years. People will come to my office now and say, I say, Mama, as me even still young now. 99 years, all of us don't go. That doesn't mean they will take the thing from your children. They will renew it. They will renew it because Land Use Act has come to stay. We are leaseholders. We are leaseholders. We are leaseholders in this world. How much more in your house? We are. Ekimadodo, not Dorefo, not Remiokba. Immediately we understand that. Nothing should bother us. You know, we go to church. I try to marry what I learned from the church with my real life. And it has helped me. Ekimadodo, Wagmo, not Dorefo, Okba. It's not by age, it's not by time. We pray to live long. So if you let property matters bother you, you get hypertension. You get hypertension. So don't do it. The best, train your children. If it's one house you have, give God the glory and live well till you die. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma. My question is, some of us, we work and earn, away from the state, that is outside the state. Yes. And then we pay tax to that government. So are you saying that, because I listened that one of the prerequisites is that you must pay tax. No, you must be a taxpayer in Edo State. Is that in Edo State? So that means that the tax I'm paying in that state, it's not tenable here. Okay. So I have to pay 100,000.
No, I gave you to completion.
Okay.
But if you are not working here, how do you pay tax? You pay tax because you are working. Whether you are in government or you are selling tomatoes, you understand? You are doing something. That's one thing we don't do in this country. The day you enter Britain or US, they know you. If you start working, they give you a pin. If you don't pay your tax, they take your pin and drive you back home. You all are there, you know now. That's what happens. So even tomatoes, when they call, say, tomatoes no here na ROS. They will quantify your tax based on what you are doing. Or if you are not here, you are abroad. So what will you go and tell them you are doing? That's why people are forging tax clearance, and I'm already arresting them. They are forging tax clearance. If somebody is abroad, what you should pay is 100,000. Don't go and tell your person, you say, no, I'll do tax for you. I go do. You go do fake tax. So if you are not working here, you pay your 100,000 because you are coming to develop here. So that's what it is. Don't let them deceive you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, ma. Please, can we put our hands together for this lady? Very wonderful contribution. Yes. Please.
Let mommy speak. I want madams to speak.
I'm surprised that no lady is wanting to.
I'm ready.
I mean, women not there here. Yeah.
Madam, good evening.
Good evening, madam.
There is what I want to ask for one thing. Okay, there is one land my in-law buy, but he have a survey, have a CFO, but the government now sees it now, and they seize the land. They said the governor have interest on that land. What is the cause of that?
I'm surprised at that too. I'll tell you I'm surprised. Is there something wrong there? Let me tell you, you know, and we are very funny here. People will be living in an area that flood has almost removed all of them. They will, when government will say, let me acquire here now to make you, they will say they're not going to agree. Later, the flood will flush all of them. No compensation, no nothing, no nothing. I'm telling you, I've seen it. When I was employed in service about 30-something years ago, when we just came into the service, that teacher's house, they said, Mami water no do. When the flood, when the thing started, they said we should go to, they told them, come on, let us acquire here and build something so that flood will stop. They said they won't. They even we did evaluation, everything. They said they're not going to take. We leave them. After many years, the flood swept all of them away. When Oshomole came now, before they say, Mami water no dey there. You know, flood wants to start. Government is saying, these my people, let us pay them or let them go. Let's build something there. They will say no. Then also, maybe if you're in Lanondo, some go block drainage. Some go block where water they pass. The flood will come, they disturb everybody. Government cannot just say he wants to die house for waiting now. No, not be about big land. Government cannot just come and say he won't take your in-law house. Something must be wrong. I want to know the details. Whether you have built house or not, you give me the detail, because unless it is for public purpose and we don't hide it, if it's for public purpose, we'll write you, give you 21 days notice to tell you that this place, government wants it. The only reason why government will want such land is that maybe there is a problem. They have already seen that flood. Something is coming there, so they don't want people to build there and waste their money. So give me the detail, let me see. Let me be sure. Say now government tell you, not the person come here saying they work for government, say government won't take the land. Everything we do is recorded. Everything we do, we'll look at it. Please, man, come. Thank you, man.
Thank you all. Thank you all. I think we should let Mama go home now, please. We have all been well educated, and I think it's now the turn of Prof to give a vote of thanks. Well, on behalf of Christ Chosen Church of God, GRA Division, we'd like to thank you most sincerely for your time and for your eloquence, for your, in-depth analysis and your understanding of land matters, both legal and ordinary. We have been very well informed, and I think we will always know what to do now when it comes to land matters. So we want to thank you so very much for coming here. But you see, this place is blessed, and you being here today is opening a new door of grace and abundant blessings for you. Amen. So on behalf of every one of us, we pray that the Lord God will bless you, amen. The Lord God will protect you, and the Lord God will take you higher in life. That you are about to finish with the public service does not mean that that is the end of it all. God still has some assignments for you, and it will be fulfilled in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Can we put our hands together to thank her? Thank you, Mom. Thank you very much.